This is the annual meeting. This is the amended regular CPC meeting agenda being held in the Don B. Griffin Room, Harwich Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Mass. At 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 6, 2025. Okay. Welcome, guests. Is there any comment in the public section? Sir, you have the floor. Just so we understand, you can at the podium. Once we begin our deliberations, there won't be any back and forth to the board. It's for the board's discussions. This is open session. You have the floor.
So my name's Bob Sarlak. I'm the vice president of the board for Forward. And I did understand that coming in the room that this is your discussion. I just didn't know if questions were allowed. I wanted you to know that somebody from Forward was here. And we also, our president is also coming from another meeting. He's going to try to make it. So, but I understand the premise here. And thank you for your consideration.
You're welcome. Sir?
Thank you.
Please identify yourself.
I will. Matt Sutphin, Mr. Chairman, members. I'm here to make some comments about your article, number 6, tech school, which I kind of made it my business to get more knowledgeable about 3 weeks ago, and I sent you a letter, which I think you have. It came as a real surprise to me to see a development out there that is effectively probably 30 houses worth of construction, when I believe very few people who voted for it, Article 60, had any idea what was going to happen. I think they figured, well, we'll have this agricultural component on a bog. There'll be some field operations where the students will come, get some education, take it back to a classroom, and go from there. At least that's what I voted for. And I believe probably most people voted with something like that in mind. They could not have envisioned an $8 million construction project with about $2 million worth of disruption to the ground. I just don't think anybody would have envisioned that when they voted for this. It's tough to go up against education, and I don't want to sound like I am. It's just a cost-benefit thing. We have an existing school, existing lights, existing parking, existing this, that. A certain amount of the educational curricula will require a classroom. They have classrooms there. If they need additional classrooms, the logical place to plug in additional classrooms is off a parking lot up there at the existing school, not to go and disturb ground at the headwaters of Herring River. So I think the problem is just not enough people really know. I've asked people about it. Nobody knows what's going on. And I think if they're brought up to speed, they'll want this revoted in a way that limits the scope. I'm not against, I guess, what I call field operations. I can see using the bogs for education purposes. I can see it in the curricula, something to benefit CONSCOM, where they're teaching soil and water analysis all over Harwich, and we gather some data. So I don't want to sound like I'm against it, but I am certainly against classrooms being built at the edge of Flax Pond, at the headwaters of Herring River. It's just totally illogical. And so you got my letter. You know how I feel. So,
all right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your comments.
thank you.
Good evening, John Chory, Gorham Road. I spoke 3 weeks ago at your meeting in public comments on article, I guess it's rec number 6, the tech school. And I agree with what that said too. I just want to follow up on a couple other additional questions that I've learned since the last 3 weeks. I've noticed on the Selectmen's warrant for FY25 town meeting, for this year's town meeting, under CPC, they list all these articles that you're going to vote on tonight, except this one. This was not mentioned, has not been mentioned for 2 select board meetings. And I was wondering if it had been pulled, or what happened to this article, or a mistake in printing. That's one of the questions I had. Second one is, how does this fall under recreation category? I don't see really any recreation up there for the general public. I'm just curious on that. Other than the fact that we're a member of 12 towns in this tech school consortium. Has the other 11 towns been consulted on this? And if so, how much are they contributing to this first phase of development for this project, which is close to $5 to $6 million, just for this first phase, which is, I guess, just putting a road in. What is the total cost of this project? And do they have buy-in in these 12 towns? The projected numbers I've heard for students for this project is 100 students. Our current assessment from the tech school is 11%. Well, this town will be on the hook for 11% of those 100 students, roughly 11 students, obviously. It costs about $28,000 to educate a child or student at the tech school. $300,000 additional to the tech school budget. We are, as a town, facing tremendous pressure on many, many budgets. And to bring on something of a project we don't even know the scope of, the cost of, the design of, how it's going to be used of, I don't think is a good place for $1 million that they're asking for this, of your board tonight to fund this project. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you answer some questions?
No. That's open session. Okay, moving on. Approval of the minutes, CPC meeting, February 13th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the new business, possible update of CPC financials with Renee Davies. She was invited to the meeting tonight. Apparently, she couldn't make it, so we're going to move on.
Don't forget to mention that if the motion is not second.
I'm going to do that right now. Okay, to the board. I'd like to remind the board that as we go through the voting process, if there's no motion on the floor, that's the end of the discussion. We move on. If there's no second to a motion on the floor, that's the end of discussion. We move on. So, any questions? Hearing none, moving on. All right, the first one,
You want us to do the housekeeping?
go ahead, do the housekeeping.
Can I,
Yeah.
do we want to talk about what we think we're starting with?
Copy for me. Hold on. Do you, Mary wants to know if you want to,
Point of order to you, Mr. Chair, do you want to make a statement what we're using for starting balances based on the last information that we received? And based on what we're estimating, based on the treasurer's?
You can say it more eloquently than I can.
Okay.
You've got the floor.
All right, so just for everyone's understanding, what I did with the spreadsheet, you had all had a draft spreadsheet last time that we never even got to. What I did was take the auditor's certified balances, the most recent certified balances that she had for us on that sheet, acknowledging that there was still going to be some additional potential changes that I guess I was expecting tonight, but we haven't seen. So that's what I have as starting balances for us. It's $1,864,488.07 in certified undesignated for FY '24, $382,879.83 in certified open space, $571,320 in certified historic, and $356,679.20 in certified community housing. The next step that I did on the revised spreadsheet is to add in the transfers that she had commented that we needed $350,581.51 added to each of the three buckets. So that being said, taking that total $1,051,744 and change out of the certified 2024 undesignated. We start with a balance of $812,743.54 in FY '24 certified undesignated. We start with $733,461 and change in certified open space. We start with $921,901.75 in certified historic, and $707,260 and change in certified community housing. So just wanted to give people a start. I don't know if I have enough, if you want to use them as cheat sheets to start. I'm sure we're going to have changes as we go along. It's just so we have something to start with.
Is this for you?
I've got one
Hand that to
here, as
Bob.
long as I can
Okay.
write on the one I have.
Yeah, it's the same as this, right?
Yep.
Are they two different ones,
Yeah.
Dave?
No, they should be the same.
Okay.
So just so that you understand that, and then when you look at that spreadsheet, there's a line that says FY '26 anticipated revenues. Those amounts came from the treasurer had sent an email to our chair that we should estimate revenues for the next fiscal year at 2.7 million. So that's where those numbers derive from, so that you can see that working balances line is what we're working with across the board. Subject to change.
Are there any questions?
Do you need another one? There you go.
Robert? Marcy? Emily?
It makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so we will, go ahead.
Okay, we're going to start with the housekeeping motions for the annual allocation. I move that we vote to appropriate and allocate the following sums of money from FY 2026 estimated annual revenues of the Harwich Community Preservation Act Fund as required by G.L. Chapter 44B and Chapter 149, Section 298 of the Acts of 2004 as follows. A sum of money for the acquisition, creation, and preservation of the open space, a sum of money for the acquisition, preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation of historic resources, a sum of money for the acquisition, creation, preservation, and support of community housing, and the remainder of anticipated revenues to be placed in the undesignated fund balance to be available for use for open space, historic, community housing, and recreation in accordance with the Community Preservation Act requirements. The motion includes an appropriation for open space reserve from FY 2025
Should say 26.
Oh, from FY 2026 in the amount of $270,000. The appropriation into the Historic Preservation Reserve from FY 2026 in the amount of $270,000. An appropriation to the Community Housing Reserve from FY 2026 in the amount of $270,000.
Second.
There's a motion and a second.
Well, I didn't hear who seconded it. You finished?
Mary
Mary
did.
Thank you, Mary.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Next.
Okay, housekeeping for the true-up of prior year's funding for open space, historic preservation, and community housing reserves. I move that we vote to approve and allocate the following additional funds into the open space reserve, historic preservation reserve, and community housing reserve from FY 2024 certified undesignated fund balance to ensure the individual reserves accurately reflect, or did you want me to change those words?
Yes, just say reflect.
To ensure the individual reserves reflect prior year revenues from FY 2021, FY 2022, FY 2023, and FY 2024. The appropriation is open space reserve from FY 2025,
It should be 2024.
2024, okay. $350,581.51. The appropriation into the Historic Preservation Reserve from FY 2024, $350,581.51. The the appropriation to the Community Housing Reserve from FY 2024, $350,581.51.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, roll call vote. Robert?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
So moved.
Okay, so that takes care of that.
Okay, the third thing is the housekeeping of the admin fund.
Funds, yep. We're
I'm-
gonna- Go ahead.
I move that we approve 50,000 from, is it FY 2026?
Yes, that one's right.
Okay, FY 2026, undesignated anticipated revenue balance to fund the administrative expenses of the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
Motion on the floor, seconded. Discussion. Really quick, that's 26?
That's 26.
Okay. Hearing none, roll call vote. Robert?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Kathy?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye. Aye.
Miss, all right. We got it done. Okay, that takes care of that part of it. So let's go to the applications. First one up is Lower Cape Housing Institute, CH1.
I move that we appropriate $10,000 from FY 2024 Community Housing Certified Balances for the Lower Cape Housing Institute.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote. Marcy?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Robert?
Aye.
Next up, Harwich Affordable Housing Trust, CH2. Kathy?
Yeah, I move that we approve $500,000 from the FY 2024 Community Housing Certified Balance to fund the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust.
Is there a second?
Second. Was that Mercy? Yes.
Yep.
Thank
Di-
you.
Discussion.
All sudden.
Any discussion? Kathy?
Well, I just wanted to, give my reasoning for dropping it from the 750K request to 500. I think that, at least for me, the rental housing assistance program needs to be proven a little bit more. I don't want to tie up all that money for something that's not going to really do what it's supposed to do. It may take 4 or 5 years before that program really can take off. So,
Anybody else discussion? So that's to reduce the number to 500,000. Okay. Nobody else? Roll call vote.
Do you
Marcy?
want to wait for Bob to come back in?
No,
Oh, he recused
he's-
himself, that's
yeah.
right. She said that.
Aye.
Emily? Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
aye.
And I'm an aye.
Okay.
Okay, Robert, you can come back in. The next one, number 6, CH3.
And from there.
Need to make sure that she
Yeah,
reports that
make
he
sure.
recused himself.
Bob was out. So,
Yeah.
got it. All
I
set.
thought you wanted to talk to him also. Why, I screwed it back.
We're kind of
Just wanted to make
a little
sure.
reversed here.
All right, moving on.
Yep, I got CH3s on the board.
Okay. I move that we approve $120,000 from FY 2024 Community Housing Certified Balance to fund the Forward at the Rock project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
No,
It's whoever wants it.
whatever, you can give it to Emily.
We did it at the
It's like-
exact same time.
Didn't she say it at the same time?
We did.
Yeah.
Which one of them?
Jinx.
The echo. Okay, discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Robert?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Kathy?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Marcy?
Aye.
All right, should we move on?
Hold on one second. Come on. Okay, so North Harwich Gravestone Preservation Project, HP 1.
Right, I move that we approve $37,015 from the FY 2024 Historic Preservation Certified Balances to fund the North Harwich Gravestone Preservation Project.
Second. There's moved in a second. Discussion. Roll call vote. Marcy?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Bob? Aye. And I'm an aye.
We're efficient.
Okay, next one, Cape Cod Rail Trail, OS1.
I move that we approve $500,000 from the FY 2024 Open Space Certified Balance to fund the Cape Cod Rail Trail project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Robert? Aye. I'm an aye. Kathy?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Marcy?
Aye.
Okay. 10, Brooks Park replacement.
Nine.
Herring River.
Herring River.
Boardwalk.
Did I skip one?
You want
Yep.
Rec 2.
Herring River Boardwalk Design and Permitting.
Oh, geez, you're right. I did skip one. My apologies, sir.
All right.
Okay, Herring River Boardwalk Design and Permitting, R2.
I move that we approve $168,000 from the FY 2024 undesignated fund certified balance to fund the Herring River Boardwalk project.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Discussion. Kathy?
Yeah, I thought we should address the letter that we received from the Conservation Commission today, suggesting that we perhaps move the funding source from undesignated to open space. I think we can't really act on that because we don't have all the details as to when the Bell's Neck Reservoir area was actually purchased and when it was purchased, and was it using land bank funds or Community Preservation Act funds. I think we just don't have enough information to do that. I do believe we have the funds under rec if we decide that we want to pass this project.
Okay, anybody else on the discussion?
I'd just say that I agree with Kathy with being this late in the game. If we didn't have funds available, then, I'd say we could look into it, but at this point, I think it's just safer, and frankly, it doesn't make sense to do the extra deep dive to figure out whether we can use open space when we know we can use the undesignated fund, so.
Okay, any other discussion? We'll go to a vote. Roll call vote. Marcy?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
I'm sorry. Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Robert? And I'm an aye.
Okay, want me to keep going?
Not yet. Okay, here we go.
All right.
We're at Brooks Park infield replacement, R3.
I move that we approve $143,000 from the FY 2024 undesignated funds certified balance to fund the Brooks Park infield replacement project.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Robert? Aye. I'm an aye. Kathy?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Marcy?
Aye.
All right, the next one is Sand Pond replacement restroom, Sand Pond restroom, R4.
I move that we approve $33,000 from the FY 2024 undesignated funds certified balance to fund the Sand Pond restroom project.
Second. Let's
There's
get
a
it done.
motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote. Marcy?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Robert? Aye. Okay, Veterans Field Shade Project.
I move that we approve $100,000 from the FY 2024 undesignated fund certified balance to fund the Veterans Field Shade Project.
Is there a second? I will second that motion. Discussion.
Okay, I know we were going a little back and forth. Eric provided more information. However, I still think it's a lot to spend on the shade, on the shade structure. But that's putting my information, my opinion on that.
Okay.
I
Emily?
yeah, I really support the idea of this one. I'm not as comfortable with the execution. I think we asked for some more pictures and other things we were poking on, platform. I understand that would be an additional cost, but I think, again, I really like the spirit of this one and what it would do and what it provide, but I'm not necessarily comfortable with execution.
Okay, anybody else under discussion?
Mary?
Kathy?
Mary, did you want to say anything?
I wish they were doing I wish Rec was doing a concrete platform. I wish they had come forward with it. I'm still going to support it though, despite that, and hope that we are not creating a bigger problem later on.
Okay. Anybody else? Discussion? Robert? Kathy?
Well, you can go, Robert.
Either way.
I have criticized this because I think it's not complete, but I'm gonna put faith in Eric on this one, so I'm supporting it.
Okay. Kathy?
Yeah, I'm really on the fence about this. I think it's an awful lot of money for what it seems to be. I'm not sure the confidence level is going to be there at town meeting, but I'm sort of going to go with Bob's thought here, and that Eric has done his due diligence, and that this is something that is strongly needed and is what it is in terms of costs. So,
Okay.
oh, did you have something?
David?
Okay, I was just informed when Eric was here last
Presentation.
presentation, he did reduce the amount of money by 10,000
From the
from the original
application.
application.
You mean from 110 to 100?
No, he went down to 90.
Okay, well, how come we
And
don't have,
He removed the
See, I have it at 100.
none of us have that.
We don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to, let's base it on what we have in front of us.
We can adjust it down if we have to. I just wanted to say, David, part of the reason I am supporting it is that I think if we find out that perhaps it needed a concrete pad, it's something that can be added in the future, hopefully at not much greater cost than what they
Understood.
were saying today. So, that's kind of where I'm coming from on it. But
Emily?
We didn't have too much discussion on that previously. That does make me more comfortable as long as it's approached in a way that it can be expanded and that we could, see how it's working and then say this would be better. That makes me a bit more comfortable.
on that, my only thought is, they're going to go up, but I would expect that you could decide at a later date if it's not working as well as they think it's going to, that you could make some changes to it.
Okay, anybody else under discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Aye.
Marcy?
Aye.
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Robert?
Aye.
Okay. Next. Cape Cod Tech Main Street Project, R6. Is there a motion? Hearing none, moving on. Okay,
So, David, if I could, for the
sure, Mary.
just for the group, I just want to give us corrected final balances so that you can keep for your notes. Because we only supported 500,000 to the Affordable Housing Trust, the $52,000 deduction in the undesignated fund goes away. So that total balance remaining is $248,743.54.
Would you read that again, please?
Yep, 248,743.54
And this is the ending balance overall?
for the FY certified undesignated.
That first column, the bottom of the first
column at the
column.
bottom. The certified open space should remain the same as it is on the spreadsheet. The final balance of certified historic should remain the same. The final balance for certified community housing goes from 0 to $197,260.71. And that's because of the reduction of $250 off of the application by the trust. And then,
Would you read that one more
yep,
time?
197,260.71.
Thank you.
And then FY 2026 undesignated, the balance should go up to 853,000.
Okay,
And that's
does
because
everybody
the
have
90
that?
goes to 50.
All right. So are you all set?
I am all set.
Are we comfortable filling in the blanks and moving that to administration?
I am. I have some typos to correct on the motion form, and I will make the changes on the spreadsheet so that they have them. Just with the caveat that obviously our auditor wasn't available this evening or wasn't completed this evening, so if something comes back that these starting balance numbers are different than what they appear, or if for some reason, we find some of the money she was looking for was already included in the balances, like the land grant, then we may need to revisit a couple of the votes in order to have sufficient funds available.
We just change where it comes from.
Right.
Yeah,
We just have to
just
change
Change where it
the,
comes from.
right.
Moving the-
We're not changing the vote, we're not gonna
No.
change the
I'm
amount.
just saying, like, we might not be coming out of certified undesignated balances if we don't have enough. Right. So that's all.
Okay. Any questions from the board? All right, hearing none, moving on. Next,
Because I didn't delete it.
can I get a motion to rescind the 2024 ATM 36 Veterans Memorial Complex electric irrigation replacement that was approved for $37,000?
I move that we rescind the 2024 ATM number 36 Veterans Memorial Complex electric irrigation replacement for $37,000 and return the funds to the CPC account.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. Anything I will have to say about this is this needs to be followed closely.
Is this, if I recall correctly, this was in conversation with Public Works that more needed to happen at that field, so
Right.
don't do
Get
one
ahead
big
of
project.
yourself. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Okay, any discussions? Motion second, vote, doesn't have to be a roll call vote. Marcy?
Aye.
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Robert? Okay. Next on the, under old business, anything for the media, for Facebook?
I just need a little bit more time, as we discussed last time. I'm creating a collection of assets that we can look at and have a repository of stuff we can post, so I just need a little more time.
Okay.
I guess we cleared a room.
It wasn't something we
They got what
said.
they wanted or not?
I know. I just
Okay,
looked up
any-
and I'm saying, okay.
Any questions for Emily? Hearing none, moving on. Thank you. Website update. John's not here, so there won't be that.
Well, I think we decided that's Emily and John now, right?
Well, he needs to train me on this new system more effectively, and from what he said, it's harder, so it's like the whiz. I need to get on a video with him and record it, so I know exactly what to do. So, we'll get there.
Once you have a username and password, I can probably help walk you through some of it.
Okay, I think I'm pretty sure I do. Haven't logged in a little bit. Like that
Ours is a
really-
little bit different, but it's still Center
Great.
Plus.
Okay, next, we still have a meeting on the books. And that meeting is a regular meeting?
For March 13th, you mean? Or are you talking April?
March.
Yeah, so we have that meeting on the town records for next Thursday. And we can cancel that since we did everything tonight.
Okay, I want to keep that meeting
I was gonna,
because we don't know if she has the if the,
Okay.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
yeah, it's, if we have the numbers from the accountant, from the auditor, then we can have a quick meeting, get the numbers straightened out, and then move on. from
Jan, is there time to file an agenda?
I already have.
Oh, you
the-
have?
It's already
Okay.
done.
Everything says, everything is like tonight, but it says possible.
Okay.
We weren't sure, I wasn't sure if we were gonna have quorum, and I
Yeah.
wasn't sure from the
Okay.
accountant.
Okay, so, and then the April meeting's the 10th. All right, is there anything that anybody wants on the agenda for the next meeting? I'll entertain a motion.
Don't say next meeting, you mean March 13th.
Next meeting,
Next week.
next meeting. So, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adjourn.
No,
I second.
no,
Oh.
Why?
because if we don't meet next week, then our next meeting is April. Is there anything you want on the agenda for April?
I stand corrected.
So I think you have to put all the applications on the April meeting in case we need to meet
They
and
are.
change things.
It's more or less like tonight's meeting, in case we couldn't meet tonight. We kept it on the books, and already posted the agenda.
So it's all there now.
I think you just need to keep it open so that when we get revisions, if we get revisions to the numbers, that we have an agenda that reflects our ability to make the changes.
Okay, you got it.
And would only,
Again, funding source is not,
yeah, funding sources, not support or
no intent, right.
no support.
I'm not saying that with the intention to change my vote in any way.
Well, you should make that clear that it's not for
This is
changing our
what we
vote.
have on the, this is what's
In case we
posted
get lobbied,
Exactly.
next week.
because we will.
You're evil.
That's what's on the website right now.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to send you, we're going to do an amended agenda. All this is taken off. That's not to be on the agenda.
I
The
thought
only-
Mary just said we wanted them on there.
That's not on next week's,
Okay, darling, what?
because next week is when she's going to,
Give
if
us
she
numbers,
comes, give
right.
us numbers, we'll make changes. This means a discussion of votes.
So I'm gonna
Well,
cross.
David, if she gives us new numbers and we can do it on the fly next week, we
I
can do
know,
it on
but
the fly.
not individually vote each article. That's what's on the agenda right now. It's not to vote, all the articles are listed.
We would, the only thing,
You want to release, you
we
want,
would only be changing the funding sources.
right.
So,
What I don't want to do is get into what you just suggested.
right. So I think that just needs to be made clear on there, that
Just
it's
say
a
possible,
discussion about,
discussion and possible vote to
Pass it
change
down to
funding
Mary so
sources
she sees it.
for any of the approved articles.
To the
I can
attorney.
change whatever you want. You
Does
just
that
look
make
at that and
sense?
tell me what to do.
So my proposal is that we say, discussion and possible vote to change funding sources.
right,
For March 13th, if she's available.
right. April's too late. Fingers crossed we don't have a meeting next week. Note that I don't love your smiling faces. I see his enough.
Robert,
Is there any possibility with numbers coming in that would make it so we could not vote for something because there wasn't sufficient money in a bucket?
I'm gonna let Kathy or
Well,
Mary answer
I
that.
think the answer to that, Bob, is that we used certified 2024 numbers, and we didn't even go into estimated revenues. So we always have the estimated revenues to go into.
Just want to make
Fall
sure
back on.
Yeah.
that we didn't have to
Yeah.
change our vote.
We didn't.
because-
We're kind of trying to use up what we've got.
Right, no,
And I'll just say why my concern is there is, one of the things she was going to do the deep dive into was where that land grant went. And if that land grant is actually in the certified balances already, in undesignated certified balances instead of in open space, then that might be another 400 that we have to move into open space, which would reduce that starting balance for us to use today from 800 and change to 400 and change.
Right. Then we
So
just
that's where my concern was coming
take it from the other bucket and move it.
Yeah.
And also the land bank debt thing, we weren't sure how that was.
Right.
Whether that's been, put back in.
Double check.
Yeah.
So, just for everyone's edification, the way I wrote this up for Jan was under B, possible discussion and possible voting to change the funding sources for any of the approved votes for the following applications. And then, that way, they're all listed, so nobody can say
And I would take
No,
off the
there was an
tech
issue.
school since that was not voted on.
not voted. Thank you. Correct. So I will make these changes to the motion form, and I will make the changes to the spreadsheet as they
Okay.
are now.
I have to contact Danielle tomorrow morning. So, will you have that available tomorrow to send to her?
Yeah, not by 7 AM, but yes. Sometime around 10:30, I
I
can
won't
have
call
it.
you at 7.
It's okay.
Calls me at 6:25.
He called me at 6 AM one day. Yes, I was on the phone with him for
I'm
like 2
sorry.
hours.
I'm up early. Kathy?
Just want to make sure that the housekeeping motions.
Yes.
Were those possible changes too, given the new balances or not? Because we should
So
include those in the
Yeah,
agenda.
so I will say the housing, the true-up, number 2 might be.
Okay, so,
So good catch.
yeah, Jim, you'd have to add in the housekeeping. Not
All three of
housekeeping
them?
1.
Housekeeping
all three?
2, the house,
Housekeeping 2. The motion number 2. And
it
then,
said housekeeping for true-up.
right,
That's a possible change.
that's a possible change for funding source, but the other 2 are not, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It might go to future, to FY '26 from FY '24. That's my
Okay.
only thought.
But don't write that, just
No,
use that as
Yeah.
is.
Okay, that's it.
Are we set?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor in a second. Can we go home?
I move to adjourn.
So moved, adjourned.
Second.
Good night, folks.
Aye.
Thank you for your time.